Hi, guys, and welcome back to my channel, Standing Tall on Tuesday. And I am recording for this segment, Where Are They Now? And today I'm interviewing my friend, Toya. Hey, Toya.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. And as you can see, we're doing Zoom because a lot has happened in 4 years since the last time we recorded. And we are
It's
going to
been
talk
four
about,
years.
yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
I know, right? Yeah, it's been close to 4 years. Yeah, it's been close to 4 years. So let's get into it, friend.
Okay, let's
So,
do it.
so a lot has happened.
hmm
So my first question is, let's do a recap. So,
Okay.
what were we doing the last time? What were you doing the last time, friend?
Jeez. And it's crazy because I feel like it just happened because I remember we were at my old spot
Mm-hmm.
and it was during COVID. And
Yeah.
so it actually was 2020. And so it had been a few months since I launched Imperfectly Beautiful. And I know we had discussed that. So Imperfectly Beautiful had launched, which is essentially a self-care business for Black women. So focusing on holistic wellness, holistic, self-care. Um, and so business happened. Um, had a launch party back in December of 2019. That was the official launch. Things took off, a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
2020. Launched some self-care products, started a podcast. The podcast was actually really amazing. And then 2 years later, I moved to Texas and kind of shifted, how everything is working and happening. So I continued the podcast a little bit after moving to Texas. And then I just took a step back from it
Mm-hmm.
for a variety of reasons. So I don't know if I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but let me know.
Oh no,
Okay.
yeah, just a recap of like, what you were doing, and the
Oh.
next questions of like, where are you now? Like, what are you doing now? So yeah, here
So
we
now,
are.
4 years later, I've moved across the country.
Hmm.
So I now reside in Dallas, Texas. I moved in September of 2022.
Hmm.
The business itself is on hold because some changes have taken place. So
So
one
wait, let's pause. So you moved in December of 2022.
September of
Oh,
2022.
September of 2022.
hmm
Oh wow. So September of 2024, it'll be 2 years that you've been down there. Oh
Yes,
wow. Yeah. See, time is flying.
it
That's
really is.
crazy. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Okay.
yeah. It's kind of scary how fast time is flying. So
Yes.
moved to Texas, and I continued with the podcast on until about maybe the beginning or maybe mid of 2023. Then I put everything on pause.
Hmm.
And so with all of that, was just trying to figure out like what my next steps would be.
Yeah.
So feeling like I needed to do I feel like I was just in a very interesting place with Imperfectly Beautiful and not knowing what was next, not knowing how to move forward. And so I took a step back. But in addition to that, also knowing that within my career, not being fully fulfilled in that space and trying to determine what was next with that. So just in general, I've always been very passionate and very interested as it relates to health and wellness, nutrition, so forth.
Hmm.
So I took some time and I was processing and thinking about it during COVID. I was thinking about becoming a life coach, and I was like, no, that's not it. And so I was just taking my time, just processing it, praying about it, thinking about it. And so I've decided to go back to school for my master's. So
Woo! Master. Going
thank
back
you.
to school. Yay. Ah.
Yes. Yeah, it's been interesting. So most of last year, I spent a lot of time taking my prerequisites for my master's class because there were a lot of
Hmm.
like science classes that I had to take. And then officially started my program January of this year. So I'm getting a master's in functional and integrative nutrition. And I also will have a health coaching certification in a health coaching board certification as well once I, complete all of my coursework and things like that. So
Hmm.
that's kind of been the focus. So with
And how
that,
long is the program?
it's a 2-year program.
Okay.
So right now I'm taking my health coaching classes. So I'm getting those out the way because I have to get a board certification for both health coaching and to become a certified nutrition specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking my health coaching classes first. I'm going to take a semester off to study for that board exam, take that,
Mm-hmm.
then start back up my courses for nutrition because I have to get 1,000 hour board hours for that and then study and sit for the board exam.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to like pace myself so I'm not stressed and I'm not overwhelmed
Yes.
process of this all. And while I'm in school, also trying to map out what this is going to look like from a business perspective. So figuring out how I'm going to be able to tie in this nutrition and health coaching in with them perfectly beautiful to where it makes sense and I'm not feeling like I'm all over the place or doing a ton of things at one time.
Right.
So that's one of the main reasons kind of why the business itself has been on hold because I'm trying to put everything together and figure out what that's going to look like. And
Mm-hmm.
then at this point, I don't even have the capacity to pour into Perfectly Beautiful while working full time and being in school as well. So that's kind of what's happening right now.
Oh, yeah. So, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still flying around the country. Traveling. Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
always got squeeze time in for a little travel.
Right, right. Because you still got a balance, still got a balance.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So my next question is what great and good things took place for you and what challenges did you
Mm.
face in these past few years?
Oh, gee. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll start with the challenges first.
Okay.
I feel like COVID really took a toll on me. It was really, really hard for me and dealt with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress and anxiety from COVID because of the uncertainty of what it was, what was going to happen, the
Hmm.
isolation. That in itself, caused some health concerns and health issues. Um, insomnia. I dealt with insomnia for like a year and a half. I dealt with really bad anxiety to the point where I was on the verge of becoming like medicated at one point. And it was just really hard. And I think living in Chicago and it's cold most of the year on top of the seasonal depression with that, and it was just a lot. And
Hmm.
I feel like I got to the point where I was just like, I know you and I have talked about this, me always wanting to live outside of Chicago.
Hmm.
And so the beginning of 2022 was really hard and like my anxiety was just like at an all-time high. And it's like I couldn't necessarily shake it. And I was talking to my mom, she started researching medication, like, well, maybe you should talk to somebody, maybe you should like get on medication. And this also kind of let me know like it made me even more interested in pursuing my education in nutrition because I'll hit on this in a second because all like the anxiety itself was related back to some health issues that I was having.
Hmm.
So, and I don't want to get too like I don't want to dig too much into it, but COVID caused stress, it caused anxiety, cortisol, which is one of our stress hormones.
Hmm.
My stress hormones were elevated, so that in itself created insomnia. And so not necessarily knowing that and trying to figure that out and navigate that. And so being afraid to sleep, and not being able to sleep because of the stress. It was just kind of like a domino effect with everything.
Hmm. And a
And then,
cycle that just kept going.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really and not really understanding and knowing like in that space and in that time frame like what was happening. And so I was seeing a therapist pretty much consistently throughout COVID, and even had conversations with my doctor about this is learning how to manage stress because I'm someone that can hold on to a lot, even other people's problems, and it's just I had to learn how to let some things go.
Hmm.
And even like from a spiritual perspective, it's it's kind of like it was also like this lack of trust in God and like not feeling as if he would come through or work things out and feeling like I needed to carry the burden of it all instead of just kind of letting it go and
Hmm.
giving it out to him. So it was just a lot of different things contributing to the stress. COVID and just other things and the lack of trust and me trying to handle everything because I'm type A and I'm low key like a control freak. So all of
Yeah,
that contributed to
everything.
that. So I had to learn methods of learning to de-stress. And so I think also part of me feeling like, okay, I'm talking about, self-care and I'm talking about all these other things and I'm
Mm.
struggling. And it's I think also part of me, I don't want to say felt like a hypocrite, but to some degree, yeah, because it's like you can't even get this together yourself. So there was just some struggles with that as well. So going back to 2022, dealing with the anxiety. So I since 2020, I started seeing a functional medicine doctor, and functional medicine doctors essentially they kind of get to the root cause of like chronic conditions and diseases. And so there were a number of tests and things that I took, and I can immediately tell when something is off in my body. So when the anxiety kind of peaked, I was having some stomach issues too, and I told my doctor, I'm like, I need to get like some testing done. Um, So came back, I took like a stool test and it came back that I had some type of food poisoning, and the food poisoning lingered literally for over a month. I was not well for over a month. And I was like, that's the weirdest thing. I never heard anybody just having symptoms related to food poisoning for over a month. But he was like, good thing is that it's coming out of your system, like in and of itself. So we don't necessarily have to do anything, but
Mhm.
give you these supplements to kind of restore the gut bacteria so you can properly digest food again. When I started taking probiotics, my anxiety diminished greatly. And that made me interested in understanding the connection between like gut issues and like brain
Mm.
health, gut issues and anxiety. So all of these things are interconnected, all of these things are related. And it was just like, here I am thinking I'm losing my mind. And it's just like all of this was tied to like
Your core.
yeah, health
Yeah,
related.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just and it sparked kind of like this deeper desire to want to kind of like dig deep and like
Mm.
understand the body, understand how to heal the body, and understand how to help other people like heal conditions, because a lot of times, and I'm not knocking traditional doctors, but a lot of times the solution is to, okay, well, take this
Take this
medication, you'll be
medicine,
able to take
take this
medication.
pill, get on it.
Yeah, but a lot of times there isn't education. There isn't education around food. There isn't education around how our bodies um, are connected to, how the gut affects the brain, and the gut affects a lot of other things, and how it affects our immune system. So it's just how how it can cause inflammation, and inflammation cause other chronic conditions and things like that. How inflammation in and of itself is been known to link to like Alzheimer's and lupus and other things like
Mm. Mhm.
that. And so I think for me, it was just like, okay, this is something that I need to dig deep into, because I don't want to be someone, or even my family and my friends, to have to go through living with certain type of conditions, and Lord forbid passing from them, when it could be totally 100% preventable. And so
Mhm.
I think it's just like the passion came from wanting to not only understand and learn how to heal my own body, but help our communities learn how to heal their bodies through food. And it's, in the Black community, we have some of the worst eating habits. We have some of the highest rates of chronic conditions,
Yeah,
with hypertension, heart disease,
yeah.
obesity, diabetes. And a lot of these things can be managed, controlled, or even reversed, because, due to like what we choose to put in our bodies, and
Mhm.
stress related too. And so, even if you're thinking you're eating healthy, or even if you are eating healthy, but you're stressed and you're worried, that can take as much of a toll on your body as it can, somebody who drinks a liter of pop every day.
Mhm.
So it's just it was kind of that interest and desire into wanting to dig into it, and to understand like how can in what ways can I like help and give back and educate our community, and not just from like a self-care well, all of this is self-care, but not just from a surface level, but learning to just kind of like dig a little bit deeper. So that's kind of like how those challenges kind of led to what I'm doing currently.
Mhm.
I guess some good things that have happened. Of course, the move to Texas. I feel like it's definitely been a great transition for me. It's not Chicago. It never will be Chicago. There are some aspects of Chicago that I miss. Like Chicago will always have my heart, but I feel like for me, it's just been like the pace and the change that I needed. Um, I've been blessed with some amazing group of core friends that I
Mhm.
didn't know that I needed. And
Mhm.
even I've told them like when I moved here and after knowing them for some time, like they even helped to heal some parts of me that I didn't, you know what I'm saying, that I didn't expect
Mhm.
to be healed.
Mhm.
From that aspect, like that's been, that's been some of the great things that have happened like within the past 4 years. Jesus, 4 years. Yeah.
That's good. I wanted to piggyback on the fact of you saying that, having to learn about the sicknesses and digging deep into it and that whole thing about why we have the inflammation and have to, get sick and all that. I feel like you had to go through that journey in order for you to learn, you know,
Hmm.
and have to, go back to school and just not the surface level of it, but
Yeah.
to really find out the root causes of the reasons why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you had to have that sickness in your gut and all that, and it had to linger on for
Mhm.
the month or however long it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we have to have a test to have the testimony to be like, okay, this is why. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, and you had to go back to school and learn all of that, for it to be like your success story, for you to be
Yeah.
like, okay, I had to go through this for me to know this is why this happened. Cause yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. People don't
Yeah.
normally get food poisoning for a whole entire month.
Girl,
Then
I
they
was
get
like,
cured by probiotic.
yeah, yeah. And what's crazy is that I started dealing with gut issues again end of last year, and I'm like, okay, now, let's.
Yeah.
And so again, had to go through the same process over again. And then I had some type of bacteria, like they caused some type of infection and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? What's going on? And at
Mm-hmm.
this point, like it kicked it up a notch. So like I'm having inflammation in my body. I'm like
Mm,
right knee stiff. And I'm like, why is my right knee stiff? So I'm going to physical therapy, trying to work it out. Cause I also, I have scoliosis. So I'm thinking all that stuff is related. So I'm just like,
mm-hmm.
I'm getting adjustments and I'm like, it's not getting better. So I'm asking my doctor, I'm like, how did my gut like get messed up again? So she was like, it could have been, from some type of infection you caught, like virus or something. She said it could have been, you had COVID and you didn't know. You could have had norovirus and you didn't know, and it messed up your gut microbiome. And that's kind of where we are now. And so that led to gut issues. My estrogen level increases. I'm gaining weight, and I'm like, okay, why am I gaining weight? And so it's continuing to learn how all this stuff is just connected. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
plus, my liver was like not detoxing the right amount of estrogen, so it was causing an increase in my estrogen level. So it's just a whole thing. And I was just like, I feel like I'm starting from scratch all over again. So this year has just been very frustrating as it relates to my health. And so, but every year, I go to the doctor for everything. Like I see my doctor like 4 or 5 times a year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I appreciate about it because they stay on top of things. So at the beginning of the year, I'm like, I need to get everything done. So I got
Mm-hmm.
full panel, every like hormones tested, thyroid tested, full blood work, food sensitivity panels, stool tests, some other type of tests. And so that's how I found out about the, estrogen levels, gut stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the shocker was, I took a food sensitivity panel and I feel like only naturopathic and functional medicine doctors show like
The real food.
have that panel because if you go to a regular like allergist or something like that, they don't have that panel because I tried to get it last year. And so they're like one doctor last year, she tried to tell me like, well, it's not really accurate, and so we don't really use it. And I'm just like, this is I don't know. I don't believe that. So when I get it done from my functional medicine doctor this year, I had seven seven food sensitivities. And so she was like, "Oh, well, you need to like eliminate these so we can heal your gut." But I didn't know how drastic, like how impactful, like it had been on my health. So 7 food sensitivities I have. dairy, onion, blueberry, cane sugar, oatmeal, sesame seed, and coffee. And so not knowing when I first got the test, I'm like, oh, okay. So like, I'll, work on eliminating it on my diet. When I would go out, I have dairy every now and again. I kept cooking with onion powder and like my knee was still stiff. And I had another appointment with my doctor. She was like, when you eliminate those things out your diet, she was like, you should be fine. Like all the stiffness and stuff that you feeling should be fine. I because onion has been the hardest thing for me to eliminate. Black people, we put onion powder on everything we
Onion
cook.
powder and everything, onion and garlic powder,
Yes.
everything,
So I won't I
everything.
put onion powder in it. So I had to put up like I literally am to the point where even if it's healthy stuff I'm eating, I'm reading the labels to make sure it doesn't have onion. I got stuff in my freezer right now I can't eat because it has onion in it. So
Mhm,
like seasoning salt, I'm not cooking with that. Onion powder, I'm not cooking with that. I would have a smoothie every day with blueberries in it. Blueberries are healthy, but because my gut is in the process of healing, I have to eliminate those things out of my diet right now,
mhm.
healed, and reintroduce them back into it. But when I tell you, once I took that stuff from my diet, like it's like night and day. I'm walking like my knee not stiff because I love to walk and
Right, right.
I'll walk 5 miles and it'd be the I had the best time ever.
Mhm.
Like it got to the point where even like I would be walking and it would be uncomfortable, and I'm like I'm frustrated because I can even do what I enjoy.
Yeah, love to
Mm,
do.
stress reliever for me. And then the other week I was like, well, I think it was last week. And I'm like, well, let me just like go for a walk, whatever. And I went walking. I was like, okay, I wasn't any discomfort. And I walked again. I was like, okay. Then I went walking yesterday and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it's just crazy like how things affect the
Affect
body.
your body, yeah.
And then I was just like, I think this in it of itself too is just showing me like I'm not a terrible eater, but there are some habits that I need to improve upon. And so I think then this process in and of itself is showing me that I need to kick it up a notch too, because it's like you're about to be a nutritionist. You need to
Walk
essentially,
the walk and talk the talk and
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And so I think in this process, I'm learning like greater discipline as it relates to my diet and my eating habits.
Mhm,
Um, so I'm working on. I haven't been eating any of those like items or whatever like for the past like month or so. And it's made a drastic difference in how I'm
mhm,
feeling. And so it's just like me also like figuring out like, okay, what else do I need to do? And like what other things that I need to do to continue to take care of my health, to take care of my well-being.
mhm.
So that's kind of what I've been focusing on now. And it's just been, yeah, it's just me needing to learn another level of discipline that I feel like I haven't had before.
Another thing that I do this too, and I think that is Black and brown women, men too. We definitely need to pay attention to our bodies.
Mhm.
And when something does not feel right, or when something is not going right in our bodies.
Mhm.
Because we have to advocate for ourselves, especially when we go to the doctor, right? Because we'll tell them something and they're just like, they might dismiss us or might not listen to us all the way, or like, oh, it's a no, I know my body, you know what I mean? So that's good that that we listen to our bodies, or we know when something is not right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely need to do, and we can only do that if we know how our bodies are supposed to be or not supposed to be.
Yep.
So, yeah, we definitely gotta pay attention to our bodies.
Mhm.
So what's next for you, Toya? What does God have for you next?
Mm, girl. I'm just trying to take one day at a time. I'm just continuing to like focus on myself, focus on my health, um, focus on school. So I have this little 1 week break now. So I'm gonna take full advantage of it.
I
I'm
know.
gonna get back on the couch and watch me some TV. But I'm enjoying my 1 week off. But I think just finishing school, focusing on school, and just I think for me, just trying to, I guess, take more chances on myself as it relates to like stepping into this new career. So that looks like networking and trying to get to, know people in this space and connect with them. Um, because there are some things that I want to accomplish and things where I want to be next year. some things that I want to do differently. And so I need to, I'm starting to prepare for that. And so that's what, kind of my focus is. And just, kind of getting back to myself from a health and fitness perspective. So trying to get back into that groove because I've completely put that on the back burner, especially since moving here.
Mm,
Texas is not really walkable like Chicago. So I can't walk out of my door and just,
walk
do what I
outside.
would do back, in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to be more intentional here when it comes to just like working out, fitness. So I think those are just my two focuses. And even from like a spiritual perspective, I finally was able to find a church here, which is one of the most challenging tasks since I've been here because it's just every other church is a mega church. And it's trying to find like the right fit for yourself. So I think just
Mm-hmm.
trying to get back into a place spiritually of where I feel like I need to be because I feel like, that aspect of life has also kind of fallen off a bit. So um looking forward to I guess kind of getting back into that. And I feel like that's it. Just enjoying life. 40 is hitting this year, which is insane. So
Oh
prepping
my
for.
God. Oh yeah, we talked about that. That's right. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well,
So yeah, just prepping for that, and yeah, just yeah.
it's a
That's,
beautiful thing. I remember when. I
mhm.
remember. So well, to keep yourself and others encouraged, do you have like a favorite scripture that you stand on or any encouraging words for others?
I think I think a scripture that always gets me together is Matthew 6:33 and 34.
That's it for that's it for
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, it because me, I can be a natural worrier, and it's just a reminder for me. I think to learn to trust God because trust is something that I've struggled with over the past, some years, and so that would be a scripture. I don't want to, yeah, that's one scripture, but I think also in relation to that, it's also just kind of learning to Um, let go and just trying to, I guess, let things be as they are and not trying to control things and not trying to put my hands on things because I feel like they're not moving quick enough or and then also too just trying not to operate out of fear.
mm,
Um, acting on things that I am afraid of, doing those things that do make me a bit afraid or um learning to kind of be like, all right, God, like, yeah,
duh.
you got much. So I'm just, can you, you know, so it's, I would say those two things. So that scripture in and of itself and just, um, I guess learning to let go and trust more and to not be so fearful.
Oh, yes, I
Yeah.
know, right? Seeking him first. Do not worry. Do not worry.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, I know. So, oh my God. Thank you so much, Toya. Oh my goodness. So you'll be turning 40 this year? Girl, don't make that face. Don't do
It's
that.
because it's crazy. Like I feel like time has flown by, and it's like I don't feel, I don't like.
You don't feel it, you don't look it, and that's
No,
the
what
best
that?
and most important thing. Like, yeah,
Yeah. It's
I
like I
know.
think it's not a like, dang, I'm 40. It's not that. It's that like I'm turning 40. Like it's kind of like I feel like I was just like 27. And it's like now I'm blinked and I'm about to be 40. Like it's kind of like a shocker. Like it's just time is flying. It's just like even when I like look at my family, my niece growing up, and my brother's getting older, and it's just like parents getting older, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah. And you
yeah,
did your lunch when you turned 35.
yes, it was for my 35th birthday.
Yes.
That's
It's
crazy.
great. I know. That's why I'm just like, yeah, time is flying. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
2019. Waiting
yeah.
on nothing or nobody. Like, oh my God. So yeah.
You
I still
bullied
got a
me.
video when you was like, yeah, in your red dress. And you was like, yes, oh my God. So, oh my goodness. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your story of where you are now.
Problem.
So much has happened. So, in all good things, all good things. So, yeah, can't wait to see where you're going to be. Not even in another 4 years, but another year. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
I'm ready.
amazing.
I'm ready to make some moves. I'm just like some things have to happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time for me to step it up a notch. So,
Yeah, can't wait to see where you're gonna be then, Toya. So thank you for sharing your story, friend. Thank you so much.
oh, thank
So,
you for having me.
oh, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all. So you can watch, subscribe, share, put your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much.
Thank you.